Humidus podcast.
Hello, and welcome, you beautiful bastards, to the Humidus podcast with your boy Hammer and the unknown rotted corpse of the Plague Father himself. Semi-digested pile of vomit. It is.
Hello, all you beautiful Ksuyaro. It's me, Steph. And for those of you who don't know, that means beautiful people in Japanese. Feel free to look it up.
And today we have a very, very special guest. It is the divine, the conqueror, Dank N.
Hi, indeed it is I. Dank N.
Indeed. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, guys.
Welcome, Dank N.
Pleasure being here.
You're finally here after being mentioned several times in the podcast already, and we're so excited.
I guess I should be claiming royalties.
Yeah, of course. When the 1.5 listener
which
is
me.
paying, yeah, which is you.
When we get sponsored by Manscaped, you're gonna get the first lawnmower.
Yeah, NordVPN. If you're listening, please, we need some money. Okay.
Just send it directly to Dank N. He has the royalties.
Yeah, he has claimed them.
Give him like.
Okay, so Dank N, for those of you who don't know, you can maybe introduce yourself a little. Or...
Yeah, sure. So I'm Dank N. I'm Dank, obviously. Extremely so. I'm an old pal of the guys here. Huge nerd. Huge fan of pop culture, I guess. Same as you guys. Basically the average nerd.
I mean, the word average is
very
relative. Light here.
Yeah, very relative.
I think that
you can say I'm an avid gamer.
Yeah. I mean, you're even a semi-pro at Smash Brothers, at least.
I mean, I'm sponsored, so.
Fuck, you're sponsored?
Yeah, I have a jersey with my name on.
Jesus.
Yeah, so that's your average gamer, guys. Let's wrap it up.
Man, I've been missing out. Where's my average gamer sponsorship?
Where's my team shirt? Yeah.
Games Workshop, please sponsor us.
Yeah, so basically we're going to have Dank N with us today. It's going to be a fucking great experience. And hopefully he'll be featured on episodes to come.
Yeah.
And today we're going to talk a little bit about a recent scandal. If you have not been living under a rock, you've probably heard that The Last of Us Part 2 had a major leak recently, and it's been causing all sorts of controversy. Steph, have you been following this?
I have. I watched a couple of videos on this, actually, and I was quite a bit worried that I would had this spoiled for me, because I actually liked the first story quite a lot, and I am genuinely curious to see where the story goes. And it's very serious with this type of game too, because the story is such a major part of the experience.
Yeah.
And so I've been actually doing the thing that because the developer, or one of the developers, they put out the tweet saying that you should try and mute keywords and such so that you avoid spoilers, and I've actually done that because I just want to get the full emotional impact of this story.
Yeah, I think many people are worried that they will be spoiled prior to the game's release. I don't know, Dank N, did you play the original one?
I did. I'm a big fan of the story. The gameplay, not so much. I couldn't play through it in one go, you could say.
No.
I mean, but the stealth part is really good.
Yeah.
The shooting, I can't deal with it.
No, it's not. I mean, I got the same kind of feeling from playing the original. I played it on PlayStation 3, and I believe that the better experience, or the definitive experience, is the PS4 remake, or at least I've been told.
That's the one I played.
Yeah, because of the hardware, it was very pushed on the PS3. in certain areas. So you could like notice it getting a little bit janky and stuff like that. I don't like that kind of shit. I need my games to be smooth.
I mean, you are
Um,
kind of a PC master race as well, right?
yeah, basically. But it's not like I don't need the graphics to be insane or anything. I just want the gameplay to be smooth. I
Mm.
can't. At least in my later years, I've been very bad at handling, just slight jankiness. But then again, I'm really into indie games, and those can have a lot of jankiness. So I guess I'm a hypocrite. I don't know.
No, but it's in a different way
But
now because you expect
yeah,
different things from a AAA publisher.
right. So, but I love the story in the first game, just like you guys. Um, and I wasn't like waiting for The Last of Us 2 or anything, but it was a pleasant surprise when I heard that they were making one.
Mm.
And unfortunately, I have been spoiled. It's not like I'm down or anything. I can still play the game and probably enjoy it, but I guess that the majority of the internet is trying not to spoil each other. It's kind of
So,
yeah.
but without spoiling anything, like what's the severity of the spoiler here?
I would say that the spoilers that have leaked it's very severe.
Okay.
It's almost all of the kind of key large points in the story
Ah, shit.
are in the leaks. So if you don't want to be spoiled, don't try to find them.
Yeah, yeah.
Also, a lot of the gameplay is shown.
Mm.
And it's almost like some theories have been going around that it's like a disgruntled employee
Yeah.
that leaked these, and it kind of it's almost evident that somebody is out to hurt the game
Oh,
with
yeah.
these leaks because they're so massive and they're so detailed, so as to kind of discourage hyped fans, you know, um, from being hyped about the game.
Yeah. I mean, this is. Yeah. I mean, no matter how poorly you've been treated by the company, I feel like this was really uncalled for because
Yeah.
regardless of the business practices, there are other ways to get at them. And they're still making a solid product, and there are still people toiling and using their blood, sweat, and tears to make this happen and make it a genuine, nice product for the fans as well. So this hurts the fans almost more than it hurts the company as well. So I feel
Yeah,
like
and
this.
that's I guess the duality of this kind of discussion is that Naughty Dog is known for having very hard crunch times,
Yeah.
and salaries are not really or have at least been taken into question, but still, like you said, you're hurting other people also by doing this, so it's very selfish, I guess,
Oh
um,
yeah.
just to get your revenge.
Sad, really. Because you're, I mean, the experience of playing through a game like this, like for the first time, and like being shocked by all the key moments in the story is
Mm,
amazing.
Yeah, I mean
definitely.
that's like the major appeal of these kinds of games is the story, right? And how human it is, and I mean
Did you say
there are
humid or
so many.
human?
No, humid,
Oh,
not
Oh,
humid. These are not so. I mean, these games are really serious. They're
yeah.
not dank at all.
No, no, no.
There's no respite in these games.
I mean, you could
But
argue
I
that
guess that's
humidity created the fungus spores.
the zombies. Yeah, the plant zombies. Yeah, I know. But but still. But the story is really essential here, and that's why the leaks hurt so bad
Yeah.
for the developer. But still, I feel that what I saw, it doesn't really discourage me from playing the game.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, I think it looks really solid. The point that you mentioned, Dank N, about the combat and the shooting and stuff, I also felt that playing the first game. But this time around, it's much more it looks so fluid and tight, you know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And it looks very, it's like the same type of gameplay, but it's tightened up very much, and you have a lot of options, it seems, to kind of like, and when you kill people, especially like survivors, it feels really like you're killing an individual.
Oh, I see. Yeah, they make it more
I
visceral.
mean, yeah, when I say that, it sounds like I'm a fucking psychopath, you know.
No, but it's
but
true. It
yeah, it looks I mean, immersion is everything in a game, right? So
Yeah.
if they can do that, that's positive.
it adds, yeah, it definitely adds to the overall atmosphere, and the more, because it's not like the characters doing it are enjoying this as well. They're not like, well, I guess they have become trained killers, but then they didn't do so out of choice. They're not enjoying it. It's
No.
not like it's trying to play a little bit more into that realistic aspect. And in real life too, I would imagine it's fucking nasty and it's dirty and it's, you know, it's a horrifying
Of
experience.
course.
So
Yeah.
the more they showcase that, I'm all for it to get that immersion.
And that's my point too. It's like you really feel the weight of taking a life, you know. It's not just that, and that's the thing about this game. It's supposed to be very, very like visceral and heavy with the emotion.
Yeah.
Yeah. So does it hurt the game? I mean, it probably does a little bit, but the publicity that it gets right now, it's insane.
Yeah.
And you know, all publicity is good publicity. So we're talking about it, and we have 1.5 listeners. So
Yeah, our reach is fucking massive, dude.
But yeah, I think it's ultimately maybe it hurts the game a little bit because the story twists, and the game looks so polished from the leaks videos that I think it's very hard to kind of go back and redo some stuff to mix it up. But still, the premise and the story, as I understood it from the leaks, I mean, it's genius. I really love it.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, for me, it's a purchase anyway, but I'm also kind of glad that I haven't gotten the story spoiled for me yet. Because, I mean, just
Yeah.
if you think about the first game, I would say that the intro to that game is one of the
Mhm.
best introductions to any game ever in terms of emotional
Oh
investment.
yeah.
Like Jesus
Yeah.
Christ,
Yeah.
I almost never get emotional. I'm pretty stunted emotionally at this point. But that game,
Mhm.
that was like, I saw it. I'm like, oh fuck. I mean, they managed to make me care for that girl in that short amount of time that it was an absolute fucking gut punch when the story,
Yeah.
like the intro was over. I was like, what the fuck? Oh, that hit me hard.
Yeah. And that's actually, you know, hard to do in such a small amount of time, like you mentioned. I don't know if it hit you like that, Dank. And you completed it, right?
Yeah,
The first one?
I did.
Yeah.
No, the intro is amazing, and as Steph said, you really feel for the young girl,
Mm.
and it also, I feel like it's such a contrast to like the next part, which is like the world's gone to shits, you know.
Ah, yeah.
Hmm.
Like if you're in the fucking wilderness, I think I don't quite remember.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's true.
it's like it's a time skip between
Yeah.
like the prologue and the rest of the
Mm.
game. But it's like, and the kind of last part of the game also, when you save, or when they kind of ride into the sunset together, you know, Joel, uh
Mhm.
he's they create this feeling. It's almost like they got through this together, but they're also scarred,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know. And it's like and that feeling, it's so real. I think that people really appreciate that because it's so realistic, you know. Nothing is like black and white. It's not just sadness and rosy red. Even though they survived, they had to do, you know, a lot of terrible stuff and live through horrible times.
Not to
And
mention
that, yeah,
the actual ending ethical dilemma as well, where
yeah, right.
Ellie actually could potentially have been the cure. So
Mhm.
would it be more ethical to sacrifice her to get humanity back up and running potentially? Because where were you can't really argue. I mean, of course, it's not up to them to take a life and all that. You have that ethicality, but it's also like, were you really killing the bad guy at the end when you saved her, or was that a selfish decision? You know, it's kind of like,
Yeah.
even that impacts it. I feel like, how would Ellie feel about it? You
Mhm.
know, all these things. Would she have been okay
Right,
with it?
right. But where do you guys want the story to go? If you could guess, since you're not spoiled, just kind of explore that.
I think it would be weird if they didn't play on the like her being the cure.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I think it would be strange.
Yeah, it seems very logical.
But probably a more. I mean, since Ellie's more in the spotlight than Joel, uh,
Mm.
probably more of her experiences of living through this, maybe a less action-oriented way from the first game,
Yeah.
if you can say that, because there's a lot of like either stealth or action sequences to kind of fill in between the story segments.
Hmm. Hmm. And what do you think, Steph? Where do you want it to go?
Well, I kind of agree with Dank N here. I mean, I also think that they really should expand upon that, where the first game left it in terms of those ethical issues and how Ellie would feel about this, because she doesn't necessarily agree with it. And I also imagine that, since based on the trailers only, Joel is not very heavily featured in the trailers, I imagine they had a falling out of some sort.
Hmm.
And I really hope they do
Yeah.
explore that, and kind of like, I still hope that Joel will be an integral part of the story to some extent, because I like Ellie, but Joel was the guy you played, and I felt like I had more of an attachment to Joel than I did Ellie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think that's natural. That I mean, since you play him the most, you get most attached to him.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people feel that way also. But it's fun to kind of now. Obviously, I know where they took the story, but it's very interesting to hear you guys when you kind of elaborate on where you wanted it to go.
So, as a like a again, without spoiling anything, would you say that you were? Did you feel like the way they took the story was good, in your opinion?
Yes, yes. I was actually just introduced to this by a friend of mine,
Okay.
and he explained to me what the leaks consisted of, what the videos consisted of,
Okay.
and then he showed me the videos.
Mm.
But what he didn't show me was the internet drama that had
Oh,
already been established around this leak,
yeah.
because there without spoiling anything, there is some drama around this leak,
Yeah.
not in particular to the leak itself, but what it contains.
Yeah.
And since I didn't get the kind of the bias from the kind of hive mind of the internet,
Yeah.
I felt that the angle they had chosen was almost genius. It was very good. It was almost like a really good novel, or
Oh.
something like that, they explore. Okay, so I'm trying not to to spoil here,
Yeah, but
but let's say they explore human morality and the fragility of human emotions,
okay.
and how they all often conflict
Ah,
with
yes.
each other.
So similar to the first
So
game, then they also kind of had that.
yeah, it's I mean it's the same type of story, very very deep, exploring human emotions.
Good.
uh so it's still very very good, and
That's
I,
all I wanted to know.
I yeah, the internet drama surrounding it, I mean, just disregard that if you if you get a whiff of it. Just don't pay it too much attention.
Yeah. So TLDR for our 1.5 listeners out there. Just make an opinion for yourself. Don't believe
Yeah.
the bias in the hive mind. That's the TLDR.
Yeah, that is an important message to take home with you. Okay, so segueing on, we're going to talk about a special game also today, which we all have some kind of relationship to. and that is the Clock Tower series from. Yeah. Do you remember that, guys? Yeah, you got to be 30
Jesus.
plus. No,
I,
but still, it's an old game series. Let's just say it
Yeah.
like that.
yes.
What genre would you call it?
Dank
Point and click.
survival horror.
I like almost say point and click horror, but it's not point
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
click. But it's
True.
It's like
close.
point and click with the controller
Yeah.
instead.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. For those of you not familiar with the Clock Tower series, it is a very tense horror game.
Yeah.
It focuses on atmosphere and on almost a feeling of helplessness in the player character.
Mm.
You're
Absolutely.
very vulnerable. Yeah.
Especially
But
the
so
first one.
especially the first one, yeah. But Dank N, what was the first Clock Tower game you played?
I'm not actually sure. I think I've only played one of them, but these are like ancient memories.
Of course.
I have the picture of, or like the memories of me being chased by the huge hedge trimming scissor thing,
Mhm.
which is on the
Mhm,
cover of the
mhm.
first game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the pure, like the pure intense horror. And as you said,
Oh yeah.
helplessness. It's
The
just
sound. The sound
it's
of the
like
sister.
you guys talked about the remakes of the Resident Evil games,
Mm.
and it is like Nemesis and Mr.
Oh
X.
yeah. True.
Just
True.
Yeah.
it's just old, but it's
Yeah. It's very
just as
old.
horrible, if not even more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you play today, you'll probably
Maybe.
maybe laugh a little bit,
But
at first, but
yeah.
then as you get immersed in the game, then you
Yeah.
start to pay attention, because
And
your
just
character is
imagine.
basically like useless. Yeah,
Yeah. Just imagine playing the first game when it came out.
yeah, of
Because
course.
like Dank N said, it's pretty much more so intense than Mr. X and Nemesis, because the scissor guy in the first game also is very ever present. He's always following you in a way. You always hear
Yeah,
that
yeah,
that like of the fucking
yeah.
scissors following you.
The sound in the games are just it's so very important to the experience. The ominous sound of someone. You're always in like a desolate location, right? So when you hear someone in another room, you're like immediately like, oh my fucking god, it's the
Yeah.
fucking killer.
Yeah.
It's after me. The game I played the most was Clock Tower 2 on the PlayStation,
Oh yes.
the PlayStation 1. And you're basically it's like Resident Evil, right? It's like horrible to the 3D graphics, sorry. And you're in this haunted mansion trying to escape this little girl, Stephanie. She's
Yeah.
like possessed. And when she appears and the fucking music starts blasting, like fucking freaky, panicky hype music,
Yeah.
and you're like fucking sweating all over the controller, losing it, and your character is basically fucking, she's useless. You
Yeah.
can find like weapons like a gun with like 2 rounds in it and stuff like that. It's like, and maybe like a bat or something, a plank or something you can hit her with, but it's basically just to escape.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean,
And if you linger, you're killed. You're just
yeah.
fucking, yeah.
And and only like not only that, but one of the things I found funny, I played this through your recommendation. I'm pretty sure the second one, and I played it on
Yeah,
emulator. Uh,
yeah,
but one of the things that really struck me, of course, the game is very out there with what it sends chasing after you. But
yeah.
because there's not only the doll, there's all kinds of other things too, like the fucking suit of armor. And
Yeah.
is the sister guy there too? I think he is, right?
Yeah, and you can get killed by like lots of stuff.
Yes, exactly.
So it's not only the kind of chasing person or demon like the first game, or I guess the first game also has like hazards that can kill you.
Yeah.
But the scariest moments is like the main kind of pursuer.
Yeah, and you also, because once you complete like a certain like certain key points in the story, suddenly things that were inanimate before can suddenly turn on you. That was
Yeah.
also one of the things I really like, because the suit of armor, at first it's just a prop, it's just there, and for quite a few times you pass it, nothing happens, and then suddenly once you see like the small story event, you just go out there as if nothing, and then suddenly
Yeah.
it's just moving, and you're like, oh shit.
And you fucking piss your pants when
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
happens, you know,
And you're
because
fighting
you
the
never
janky
expected
controls.
that. Yeah. And the horrible controls. I mean, that almost adds to the immersion.
Yeah.
Because you feel that your character is she's fucking petrified, you can't even move right. So you're just clumsing about when this doll is coming towards you with a huge knife gonna stab you,
And the other, one of the most memorable deaths from that game for me was, like, first you pick up this phone call where there's just this voice that says like, I'm going to kill you.
That's
And,
right.
and you're like, oh, and like the thing is, the mechanic is that once you get introduced to a hazard, there's this panic thing that you have to mash the right buttons to survive. If I don't remember that.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's this, when environmental hazards happen, there was this one thing where I just inspected like a huge portrait, and suddenly the portrait started to shake, and I was like, oh shit, panic button, panic button. And I'm like, what's going to happen now? And then the portrait just fucking fell on me, and I died.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's got its like almost comical moments.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean the game's so weird. It's so out there. I guess it's Japanese. It's like, from a Western point of view, you kind of, you don't expect it. You don't expect the quirkiness also.
Yeah.
But it works. It's really funny.
Yeah, it does. And
You're still screaming. You're still afraid.
especially if you play it alone.
Yeah, sure.
So,
Oh yeah.
that fucking game.
But I don't know where they took the series. I don't know if it's gonna make a resurgence or anything. I doubt it, because yeah.
Yeah, actually, there's a game from 2016 called Nightcry, made from the same creator.
Really?
Seriously.
Yeah, and
This is something
also
to check
because
out.
it goes Clock Tower, I guess it's 2 releases, and then it's Clock Tower 2, 98, Clock Tower 3, 02, Haunting Grounds 05, Nightcry 2016.
Haunting
Whoa.
Grounds. That's a part of it too.
It is Nightcry is
Shit.
on Steam as well. That's 6 out of 10.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dank N.
There we go.
There we go. That's the kind of knowledge we need. So actually, they made the developer made a 2016. Is that the same kind of genre, or is it like
It
a new?
seems like it.
Yeah,
It's set on a cruise ship.
it's set on a cruise ship.
And it's on
That's
PS
fucking-
Vita too, it looks like.
The guests and the crew start to turn up dead, the victims
Okay,
of some foul murder.
I mean,
Okay, so we gotta play this game.
It's actually gotten, when I look at the reviews here too, it says 76% like this video game out of the Google users. So I'm guessing this is quite, decent fun, if nothing else.
Yeah, it says here from a commenter, this is a new Clock Tower game, basically.
Oh, that's good. That's all I need.
It is unpolished and janky even by series standards. So that's good.
That is exactly. But those are very key components of what makes a Clock Tower game, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta have those. You gotta have those.
Oh boy, I'm gonna buy this.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I just like 20 minutes ago, I said that I need all my games to be smooth and
Except
well
indie
optimized. Except indie games, of course. But I mean, in the case of Clock Tower, it almost adds to the immersion.
Yeah, it does.
You,
Oh my
you,
god,
you
this game.
feel helpless, so the helpless controls are aiding that feeling. Yeah. So Clock Tower, boys and girls, you gotta go try it if you wanna have your heart rate jacked up to 1,000. if you want to discover any like looming hidden heart failure or,
Oh
or
yeah,
heart disease,
medical
you
condition
can try this.
exploration.
Yeah, that's basically the purpose of the game.
And I think are we kind of touched on the idea of whether we should actually stream a let's play of
Yeah.
the Clock Tower games. So for you want to have listeners out there, if you actually want to see this, please let us know because we would
Mm.
definitely love to do this. We'll probably
OnlyFans.
do it. Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah,
OnlyFans.
yeah. OnlyFans account.
Okay, but
We'll become Twitch thoughts.
yeah. You'll have like some
E-boys.
scanty clothes, the right stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah. And for each, I start out in a thong and a man bra, like a chest supporter. That's what it's called for men. And and for every death and every donation, you guys will have to slowly turn into one of those Borat costumes.
Mhm. Okay.
I actually have
You
a silken kimono here. So if you
Even better.
donate $1, I take it off, and that's it.
That's like the ultimate
Yeah.
lottery.
Oh boy,
Oh,
OnlyFans.
sorry guys.
OnlyFans.
OnlyFans, yeah. Well, so moving on to our third topic of the day. We're going to talk about a little known franchise known as the Soulsborne series.
Yeah.
You've probably never heard of it,
No, it's
but
more obscure than
it's
Clock Tower.
yeah, much more obscure. We're just, of course, kidding. This is one of Dank N's specialty areas, but we all love the games, of course.
Yeah, we all have pretty extensive experience with the Soulsborns. And just to preface, we are just going to touch a little bit upon it. We'll probably do several episodes where we go more in depth, so don't worry about that for you guys who
Yeah.
out there who love Soulsborne.
Yeah, our repertoire isn't that big, guys. We're gonna go in circles. It's gonna be it's inevitable.
But it's a deeper circle each time.
Of course. And yeah. In the end, we're gonna have like 5 hours discussions on like Super Nintendo games and stuff like that. So stay tuned, guys. Okay, but back to Soulsborne. Because what do you guys think of Sekiro and that whole kind of departure from the classical formula?
I loved it.
Yeah.
I think it's amazing.
Yeah, I love the game too.
The kind of rhythm element to it,
Mhm.
or more like you more have to crunch and learn the entire fight to actually succeed. It's just so rewarding and amazing, and obviously, being the person I am, the Japan setting is right up my alley.
Yeah, I didn't touch that, but yeah, the focus on like execution, and it's very being more technical as opposed to grindy. Even though like Dark Souls and Bloodborne has always been skill focused games, you could always kind of circumvent that a little bit with grinding, and make it a little bit easier. But in Sekiro, it's much more, straight in the face. You got to master it.
Yeah,
that's the only way through.
Because I have a little bit of a different perspective on that one. Because for my case, I like the game and I like what it's doing, and I think it's a brilliantly made game. I love how they made the aesthetics. I mean, of course, having lived in Japan, I really appreciate this. But the thing is, for me, I understand why people like it. It just wasn't for me. I prefer more the kind of free form. I get to kind of custom tailor my own playstyle of the Bloodborne and Dark Souls. So for me, I understand that it's a great game and that it's a technically very nice game, but I just didn't like that it forced me into one playstyle. So it wasn't for me. I can watch people play it, but I didn't really feel like playing it myself, even though I bought it on day one.
Yeah, but I can sympathize with that because, I mean, I love the game. Don't get me wrong, but I still think I prefer the old formula. Not because the same reasons that you gave goes for me too, because I love to kind of imagine that this could be me. Sorry. this could be me
Yeah.
in some alternate universe. Or I like to have that type of immersion, and since the kind of customization is more set in this one, um, and there's more linearity, even though that's not really true.
Yeah,
Um,
No.
but but then that segues us nicely into the next game in the franchise, or the coming Soulsborne game,
Mm.
Elden Ring.
the ring
What
that
do you
is
guys think
Elden.
about that?
I mean, it's just a gift, isn't it?
It is.
To us gamers.
Oh yeah, and I believe that all of us are huge fans of George R. R. Martin's work.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, the combination is like made in heaven. So,
Mm-hmm.
uh, what can you
I
say? It's it's
I haven't
it's
really read up on whatever it's gonna be. I've done minimal
no.
research into the game.
So there are like theories, but nothing is like 100% confirmed. The only
Yeah,
thing that has been hinted at is that it's gonna be more like the Soulsborne of old.
And it's
yeah,
like
It's
medieval
gonna be
fantasy,
more,
right? That's kind of
yeah,
the
it's medieval
thing.
fantasy, and it's gonna be RPG, more RPG focused than Sekiro was.
Yeah.
yeah. I like
Uh,
that.
I like that too, but I still hope that they fucking jank up the difficulty to a trillion,
Yeah, yeah, of course.
Mm-hmm.
so that it's as hard as Sekiro, but also you could grind to get an advantage. Just that you had to grind like insane, insane amounts to get
Yeah.
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I hope they reintroduce block as well. I was more of a blocky
Yeah,
character rather than a dodge character. So,
you were basically a tank.
oh yeah, especially in Dark Souls One, that was great. Had like the fucking Slyhander in one hand and a tower shield in the other. Dude, my
Hmm.
poise was untouchable. I loved it.
Yeah. But in Dark Souls 1 you could play that style and it would be perfectly fine.
Yeah, exactly.
They just nerf blocking after Dark Souls 1.
Yeah, but it was still fine. I mean, I still enjoyed the other
Yeah.
games a lot too. I just missed that. If like I remember distinctly, this is a small departure, but when Dank N here, when we played it kind of simultaneously, you play more of a dex build, I remember.
Yeah.
And then you were a little bit ahead of me, and I played a huge tanky build, and you were like, "Oh yeah, this boss just dodge in there, run up to the middle, and just dodge and dodge." And I'm like, "All right, I'm gonna try that," and I got absolutely stomped. And then I realized, wait, what happens if I just stand here and block, and then I could just tank the entire thing without getting guard broken, so I could just like hit him a few times, just block everything again, and that worked a lot better. But it was pretty funny because we could
Mm.
actually play through the same game with different play styles and actually discuss on it. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I
Yeah,
just gotta
that's
butt in that because I just have to say thank you for telling me about this cool super hard game and borrowing it to me because you bought it on PC.
Oh,
Yeah, that's how I got into the series.
wait, you have my copy?
I'm not sure if I have your copy still, but you borrowed me your Xbox 360 copy so I could try it.
Ah, I
And then I
see.
like grinded it for 3 days, and now I came back and I just beat the Four Kings. You're like, oh,
Yeah, yeah, because I was stuck on that bus. Oh, geez, yeah, I forgot about that.
ah,
Oh, good times. I missed
yeah,
that.
Yeah, right. And I love that you can like explore the game with your play style, like you mentioned.
Mm,
Dank N, you had like the dex build, and you had like the max poise build. I always went for like the largest strength weapon
yeah,
with like a slow speed and kind of like timing, low armor and just rolling and dodging and timing one slow attack to hit
yeah.
with max. That was my play style.
mm,
That's pretty
It was
similar to
probably
mine.
not the best, but it worked. You know. So we're max hyped for Elden Ring, even though basically no one knows how it's going to be. But the story by our George R. R. Martin. I mean, how could it fail?
Yeah, I
mm,
mean, that also makes me a bit curious about this thing because the Soulsborne series is very famous for subtle environmental storytelling.
Mm.
And George R. R. Martin, if they bring him on, does that mean that the story is gonna be more prevalent here, like more introduced to you in a straight up manner, or with some? I assume with some. What do you say? Like you can still go in depth and read the item descriptions and do all that research you could do
Mm.
before. But I wonder because if they're just gonna make it the subtle storytelling, why would you have on George R. R. Martin? Because doesn't that kind
Um,
of? I'm kind of wondering how they're gonna balance that. What approach they're going to take.
I'm
Yeah,
not.
go ahead, Dank.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you've heard. Miyazaki has said that usually he first builds the game, and then the story comes after. He
Oh,
kind of writes the story around what he's made, like gameplay wise, like
right.
um, whatever models and boss fights and mechanics and stuff. So maybe it's gonna be the other way around this time.
I see.
Yeah,
Okay, I didn't know that. That's a pretty interesting because yeah, if they brought on George R. R. Martin, I assume then it makes more sense that they would do that.
yeah, and I'm guessing that the story will still, because they know that fans love that the discovery of lore through subtleties.
Mm.
Mm.
But I think that they will have a much more kind of broadly woven, in-depth main story, and that you can still dive deep into the lore with these, kind of side, item descriptions and small hints here and there.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. I'm just really. I'm gonna buy it anyway though. I'm really hyped for
Of
it
course, of
for
course,
sure.
that is a very safe buy for me.
I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I also wonder. I still hope they bring in some of those Lovecraftian elements like they had in Bloodborne. I absolutely love that.
Yeah, I fucking love that aesthetic too.
Mm.
But I doubt it though. I think it's gonna be more medieval, more like
Oh
George R. R.
yeah.
Martin style this time.
Mm. So
But
then,
still, the Bloodborne aesthetic is so cool. It's so insanely cool.
Do
yeah,
you guys think we'll see a game without monsters? Is that a possibility?
because of
Without
R.
monsters?
Martin's approach,
Yeah,
you
I'm
mean?
just
Or
thinking like just being a knight fighting like
Mm,
war
mm,
type.
mm, mm.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I
That
mean,
could be, that could be interesting.
it's
Mm.
possible.
Uh, yeah.
More
Not,
focus on humanoid enemies.
yeah, it could be like uh only human enemies, but they would be, differing in size and posture.
Hmm.
Mm.
You could have like thin knights and broad knights and huge knights and small knights. And
And it is actually a good point because it's kind of like how when you think of how George R. R. Martin approaches A Song of Ice and Fire, there's definitely fantastical elements in there, but they're very downplayed and they're very much in the
yeah.
background. Like
Hmm.
if you
Mhm.
even the dragons took such a long time to become the fierce presence that they are towards book 5, and even I mean if you contrast the others, the White Walkers, considering like in the show they're very much they become sort of like this fucking typical cliche enemy because of when they started deviating from the show, but in the books they are very much non-direct threat yet. You just hear mostly you hear about them that for example the whole thing when they attacked that wildling village, the hard home, like how in the show that's like directly shown and Jon Snow is a part of it and everything, but in the books it's just mentioned that it happened and it got completely obliterated. So I just hope like I can imagine that he would do the same for Elden Ring, that like you said, mostly humanoid enemies, but then there might be some hint of mystical fantastical, but it's very much in the background, more downplayed and like very
Mm.
much fed to you in small pieces. I think that would be great.
Yeah, me too. I think that if they do it like that, it'll be really, really cool. And you can have fantastical elements in regular people, like for instance the Mountain and Prince of Dorne,
Yeah,
stuff like that. You can have like these fantastical fighters with really, really unique styles and flavors,
yeah,
and have them within the realm of kind of you know non fantasy
yeah. It's like
almost.
still kind of sort of almost believable.
Yeah, yeah. In like a very stretched reality, you could believe it,
Yeah.
but I mean, still, this is a game, and you're gonna accept that, even though it's an RPG, right?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I'm just really, in general, really curious to see where they're gonna take this, and I mean, the chance of failure, I would imagine, is really, really low.
Yeah. So I guess we'll just have to see. It's an exciting time ahead, and stay healthy, guys. We're gonna wrap it up here, and as always, thank you, Dank N. We hope to see you in iterations to come.
For sure.
Uh,
Been a
remember
pleasure.
to yeah, pleasure's all ours, and remember to stay humid, and of course, stay dank.